Hello, everyone, and welcome inside the studio for another edition of Youth Baseball Midwest. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate you supporting our program. As always, remember, you like them what you see, hit that subscribe button, hit the dinger. That's what we do around here. We hit the dinger, get your alerts, notifications for when the next episode. And remember, you can always know what episodes coming up. We got Tuesday, we got Thursday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks for watching. Today on the program, to my right, I have Mr. Tommy Broyles. How are you doing, sir?
I'm awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Tommy, I met Tom at the last winter workout we did with the Rawlings Extreme.
Yep.
His team was playing there. We had a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. And I reached out to him and said, hey, man, we'd love to have you come on the show, talk a little baseball. And he said, yes. So we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, anytime to talk baseball, it's a good opportunity.
Absolutely. That's why we do this. So I wanted to talk a little bit about coaching. You've had experience coaching at the collegiate level. You didn't coach any high school baseball per se, right?
I did not. That was one of my goals.
Yeah.
That's why I got a degree in education. But I just never went that route.
That's good. But you've been coaching prep age baseball and youth and prep age baseball for the last how many years?
Probably about 15.
15. So explain to me, kind of give us an idea. What are the differences between collegiate and coaching and, say, youth coaching?
Parents, I guess, would be probably my first
We won't get into that too much, right?
Even though, I've been blessed, really, in the college, you don't run into that per se. Sometimes maybe you do, and, it's been 15 years since I was college coach. So there was instances where, we had some conversations with parents that I wouldn't say were necessarily positive, complaining and
Sure.
things like that. But so the difference between them for me, it's really more about the coaching side of it and being with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
When I was coaching in college at the beginning as an assistant, it was more about the kids, right? And then the last 5 years when I was a head coach, it was, you're a manager and you're juggling everything.
Right.
And in my situation, I had a full-time job on campus and then basically got to coach baseball. So it wasn't necessarily a priority at the school. I had to take care of all that first. And it wasn't a great situation for me per se, and it wasn't a great situation for the kids. I've got some great memories from that point. And then, I transferred into to helping my oldest.
Sure.
When he was playing in the different teams that he was on throughout, his career through high school. But then I really got back into really doing it when my youngest, my wife said, you are going to coach him, because she got tired of me complaining about, what was happening on certain instances with my oldest. She said, I really think you should coach him. And I think I look back, I wish I would have done it with my oldest.
Sure.
Just to make it a better experience for the kids. And we've been with the same group that we're coaching now for probably 9 years.
Very good. So let me ask you this. You're now, so 8-9 years, you're into helping these kids with the recruiting, right? So you've been on both sides of this, haven't you?
I have. I really, really have.
So when you're talking to the kids, how does that help you give them a perspective? What are you talking to them about?
Well, there's obviously a number of different things, and every kid's different, what they want. Some are just so gung-ho, they want to play. I don't care. Just let me find a place that wants me, and I want to play. I think the number one thing, you have to look beyond your playing for 4 years. You got to find a school that you want to go to.
Right.
That one you can afford.
Sure.
Finances always comes into play. But a school that you want to graduate from. Find the best place. If you want to play no matter what, find the best education, the best place for you that you can actually get to play.
Sure.
You don't want to go somewhere and sit. That's no fun.
No.
Some people end up in that role. Some people, use that as motivation. Some people are just happy to be part of a program, right?
Right.
So there's different kids and different things, but I think you need to find the right place for you. And somebody had told me this: go to a school that if you got hurt, you'd still want to go there.
Ah.
And if you could never play again, would you really want to go to school there? Now, that doesn't happen for everybody.
But I think that's realistic.
It just gives you a basis.
Sure.
And before this year started, so the group of kids that I have, we're not throwing out, SEC kids.
Right.
And nobody really is, to be honest. I mean, they're few and far between. They're the best players in the area that get to do that. But I told each of our kids that this is your job. It's not my job. It's not your high school coach's job. You need to find 5 dream schools and be in contact with them. You need to find 5, mid-level schools that you probably could play at. It's going to maybe your junior year. It's tough. 5 schools you can play at.
So let me ask you this real quick.
Yep.
I want to ask you this because as you're talking about that, so you've picked 5 schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're doing this. How important is the relationship that you have, say, with your summer coach and your high school coach, though, when it comes to who that person at the other end is calling
Right.
to talk to you about? Yes?
Yes. So I feel that your high school coach has, in my circumstances, I think the high school coach has more pull than a summer coach,
Okay.
depending on kind of who it is. Now, I know the majority of coaches here in the St. Louis area, so I could give recommendations. I could say things, but I really believe the high school coach has more pull than your summer coach, because I don't get paid with what we do, but some of the organizations, and they look better when their
Right.
kids go to Mizzou or SLU, some of the Missouri State, some of the big schools. They look better. They get better kids. I haven't been into that because I'm not part of necessarily an organization. So I think the high school coach only has ties to the kids, not to making money in a lot of ways.
I understand.
I don't think it's a bad thing, because I think, you got guys. I mean, Jerry Daniels has been around here forever, and that guy's got people all over the country and at the most unbelievable levels. So, having Jerry Daniels as somebody that a coach can call that's part of your organization. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Todd Whaley,
Right.
Bennis, those guys.
Right. Right.
Cooper, we talked about, I
Yeah.
mean, those guys obviously are at a different level than me,
Right.
because I'm a dad coach.
Right, right, and that makes a difference, though, if you're talking about those things as far as when you're going into that recruiting process and you're saying pick those 5 schools. How do you do that and developing those relationships? Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest thing, and I think a lot of kids make the mistake, our kids, I fought with them really all summer.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do your recruiting. You can't expect me or your coach in high school to do that, or your organization to do that. You need to do that stuff. And I heard Coach Beezer talk, send Coach Beezer an email, a basic quick email saying, here's my name, here's my numbers, but be realistic.
Yeah.
He coaches at an SEC level. Their numerical numbers of exit velocity, running, throwing are going to be a little bit higher than some other schools.
Go ahead and share that. We were talking off camera about this. I want you to share that because I think it's a very interesting thing, and I think it's important that kids really kind of understand this, wouldn't you?
It is, and it's one of those things. There's certain ways to get yourself out there and get recruited, right? You got things like PBR, Perfect Game,
Sure,
those kind of things. I think they definitely have a good place. I've had both my sons do the PBR. I've had the majority of my kids that I coach now have done a PBR event, but there's good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a kid that throws 78 miles an hour, runs a 7.7, 60, you got to be realistic. You can't play at Mizzou unless you can, hit the ball 900 feet and play first. So you got to realize that those things are good and bad. The best thing I think is it gives you a video. It gives you a video that you can send off to coaches. And I've had all my kids to pick those 5 schools, 15 total, with a very short, because they're going to get a million emails, right? My name's so-and-so. This is my class. This is where I go to high school, my summer team. Here's my raw numbers. I really would like to be a student athlete at your school. Just really basic. But I think the kids have to understand, I have guys on my team that have 75 XLS. They can play, and they're going to play in college. But sending a letter to Mizzou is not
in your best interest,
or the kids, or
right.
Coach Beezer or gotten whoever. You've already been Now, Coach, I know because some of my kids have sent letters to like Coach Beezer. He replies. A lot of coaches don't. They're busy. But I think for being at one of the biggest schools in the state, holy cow! You get an email back from Coach Beezer. Whether you ever play there or not, that's pretty cool.
It is. And I think that shows a lot of character in the coach too.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it's sad in having my son going through the recruiting process. Some of the schools he's interested that physically he can play at, no response.
Right.
And then some school out of the blue that contacts him, I'm like, holy cow, this is awesome. Being that's where dad part comes in, but
right.
But you have to be realistic. Your parents have to be realistic. One of the knocks I think is people push these kind of things, and there's no benefit to the kid. I've got a group of kids that you need to come watch, and if you watch them 4 or 5 times, you may fall in love with that kid.
Right.
But a big time school can't, because he's just not going to fit
They don't have the logistical manpower to do that.
They don't.
Right.
And I think it was Coach Beezer, Coach Bletcher, those guys that were doing a talk that you need to go to the school and go to a camp at the school. That's the easiest way, the way they get a lot of their recruits.
Right.
So you can go play, like we could take our team and go down and play at Lake Point, Georgia, where there's superstars and you're going to get looks. But if you look at the whole of all the Missouri kids, they're going to play here. So go to a camp at, so-and-so that you want to go to school at. Let that coach see you.
Southern Illinois. Right.
There's a million schools around here.
Right. SEMO. Go to these places.
Absolutely.
One of the things, Tommy, I think that is so interesting, and I've said this for a long time, you have the state, then you have regional, and then you have national. You've got to be the creme de la creme, because this is, I don't care what you say, this is why professional sports, they are the best athletes. Right? Okay, they're the best of the best. Well, every time you're for lack of a better way, you're culling the herd, the cream rises to the top. And that's just the way it is. That doesn't mean you're just a terrible player, but that means that you're not that echelon right there.
Right.
Where are you getting recruited at? Are you within your state, within the region?
Absolutely.
Are you getting national looks? And I think that comes into play a lot more than what people think.
It really does. I mean, if you look, I use PBR a lot. And if you look at the 2021 class, I just know more about that class than anybody. The top 10 on there, you've got, Christian Little's not in it anymore, but he's going to Vanderbilt. You've got Brock, who's going to Oklahoma.
Right.
You've got the kid that's going to Oregon.
There's a Fort Zumwalt kid going to SEMO.
Yeah.
Austin, I think I'm trying to remember his name.
Local.
Yes.
But local. So think about it. Those kids, I know, I know Christian Little because he went to CVC with my son. He's been all over.
Right.
National exposure. The guy's unbelievable player. Brock Daniels, they've been all over. They've got super talents. But once you get past that top 10, where are they at? Those kids are all going to Missouri. Schools.
Yes.
They're going to Illinois, maybe Kansas. But, I heard somebody say at one point, most kids that play in college are going to play within 300 miles of their home.
Really?
So, and I mean, look, my group is basically the same. We probably have 10 commits right now. We do have 2 kids going to Colorado Pueblo. The coach there now, the head coach, Coach Damberski, was at Central Missouri, so that's why he's seen our kids.
Gotcha.
Everybody else is here.
Yeah.
They're all playing in this local area. You got St. Charles Community College, which is really good, up and coming. You got Jeffco, all the schools that are around here that are looking for kids. You can find it here. You don't need to go to Georgia
No.
to get recruited by SEMA.
And there's the thing. It's interesting to me, and I found this out just because my son played NAIA.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked at how many kids are good. I mean, NAIA baseball is tough.
It is.
And there were kids throwing, I saw, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 kids throwing 90 plus.
Yeah, it's amazing. One, the talent level overall in baseball, just, I don't know, it seems to be getting better. But even, you go to Division III, you got WashU, you've got, team in St. Louis, Webster.
Yeah.
We had a tournament over there in Sauget. They were out practicing before our tournament started. I tell you what, that was a seriously run practice. And you could tell that's why they're so good. I mean, they're right at the top in the country, and that was great baseball. Just watching those kids take BP, it was a very organized batting practice with a lot of stuff going on. There's some great teams. And I tell you what, when I was coaching at the NAI level, we would beat some Division II. When I was playing at Division II level, we'd beat some Division I.
Right.
So it just depends on where you are. The top 10 programs in each level are awesome.
Right.
I mean, they're just great programs.
Top 25, it is what it is. I'll never forget, there's a program, it's Tampa University.
My son went there as a freshman.
Okay.
So I know.
52-1.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And this has been a few years back that I saw this record. I'm like, they're a D2 school.
Yeah, Coach Urso is the head coach there. And, we went down, talked to him with my son. He was just going to go. He may walk on. He didn't do that, but it's awesome. And he's my age. So we actually played against each other in college. He played at University of Tampa. So I kind of knew who he was. But yeah, I mean, and you can count. I mean, there's years they have 9, 10 guys drafted.
Think about that. I mean, 52-1 is impressive. I think it was maybe 52-2. Some unbelievable.
That's crazy. I mean, look at it now. I mean, you got guys like Lindenwood's got his first big league guy.
Yeah.
Central Missouri's had a number of guys that have played in the big leagues, and there's a lot of Division I schools that can't say that.
Right.
And we were talking earlier. The nice thing about those programs is you're going to go and you're going to win. You're going to go to, Lindenwood. I think we said they were 12-1.
They were 15-1
at the beginning of last. I mean, just a great baseball team. Central Missouri, I think, was ranked in the top 5 in division. So you go to one of those schools, you're going to win.
Right.
And man, I tell you what, it's great. I know there's a lot of I got to go Division I's. And some people, that's great. That's a right fit. But I tell you what, there's nothing better than winning.
I'm going to tell you something, too. I believe this very much. When you're talking about a winning attitude, winning to me isn't always the result on the scoreboard. I believe that very much.
I agree.
What a winning attitude is putting in the work that gives you the opportunity to outplay the other team, which is how you end up with the result you want.
Right.
Okay. But when you're doing that, and if you're developing those habits, those practices in these programs, that creates an opportunity for you that other people look at, professional people look at, not only in just baseball, but in life itself. Yeah. If you've come from a program that creates a winning attitude, a winning atmosphere, it creates an opportunity for you to succeed at a high level.
It does. And actually, I just read a book. Zach Sorensen, a guy who played in the big leagues for a long time, had a book called Hard 90. And I actually just gave it to our whole team.
I saw that. I
gave it to our whole team because I thought it was a great thing going into their senior year to really realize I luck out with this crew that I got a group of 14 kids that they work hard. We don't even have to have winter training because they're going to do it on their own if we don't. So that's the cool thing. During COVID, when no baseball, they're doing their own thing. It didn't matter. They're going to the park. They're doing their stuff. They're working. In this book, I mean, I would recommend it for anybody. And it's not just you're going to be a baseball player. You could be football, your job, whatever it may be. You hear a lot about the process.
Right.
And I've heard somebody say, if you work the process as hard as you possibly can, you have more luck when it comes to the real game.
Right.
And I really truly believe that. I don't know if I thought about that when I was head coach, at the beginning of my coaching career, but I truly, honestly believe I see that more and more with this group of kids that I have,
Right.
which is just because I know I don't care where they're going to go, they're going to be successful, no matter what they do, because they know and have seen what the process does for them.
There you go. And that's the point. That's the point. Tommy, appreciate you being with us today,
Very
man.
welcome.
And please come back and see us.
Anytime. I'd live right down the street.
There you go. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us today on the program. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. Remember, again, hit that subscribe button, hit the dinger for your notifications. We do appreciate you being with us. And always remember, you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. You hitters, the old saying, hit them where they ain't.
That's right.
I love that one.
Everybody
Everybody have a great day in the Lord. We'll talk to you.